Hunting is like art without an audience. The skills and knowledge required to stalk into an animal sub 100 metres and then be willing to take its life is a huge ask. Only you, the person who pulled the trigger, truly gets to experience the significance of that moment and the moments leading up to it. It brings you a whole different level of senses. You become aware of every movement, the way the wind feels on your face. You watch the sun rise and you think about, if you're out hunting, where that animal's going to be, every noise that you make, every smell that comes through. It brings me peace, and it makes you realise how small your problems are in the world when you're out sitting on the edge of the mountain, looking across the range, wondering if anyone else is out there. I'm obsessed with it. I love all of the outdoors, from the beach to the mountains to the rivers, fishing, hunting, hiking, being out there, and you see everything in the bush come to life. I think that is probably my favourite part about being outdoors. That's where I would love to exist for the rest of my days. I like the challenge of the hunt. It brings you back to a lot of your senses, and you become so aware of your body and the surroundings and everything that's going on. If you actually get in on an animal and get time to sit and watch, it's a pretty special feeling. And even thinking that, or knowing that you got into something that is used to having a tiger chase it back in the day, being able to harvest an animal and take it home and prepare it and make all sorts of things out of it. It's a pretty cool skill to have. I think there's a huge disconnect from people and food. And I think that's why people don't understand hunting and they get angry about it, because they think we're a pack of savages that just love killing things. If I could take someone out for a day and show them the journey from start to finish, I think people would really realise there's a sustainable future in what we do, and there's a lot of care and thought that goes into harvesting an animal and taking it from the bush and putting it on your plate. I had an introduction to firearms probably at a young age. We'd be out in the backyard shooting cans with the air rifle, which was so much fun, and I can remember that as clear as day. My dad was a hound hunter, so we got to go away hunting with him on weekends, which was a pretty cool experience, chasing sambar deer. And we did a lot of spotlighting and that sort of thing for farmers back in the day, shooting foxes and rabbits. So that was sort of my introduction at a really early age. And then my dad had sort of taken back up play target shooting and got my brothers into it. So my brothers are a couple of years older than me, and I thought, right, now this is one thing I can do that physically doesn't make any difference whether you're a boy or a girl. So I was like, this is a level playing field between me and my brothers now. And I'm like waiting, because you have to be 12 to go and be able to get your junior licence in Victoria. So at 11 3/4, I went and sat my firearms licence. And then the day I turned 12, I got my gun licence, and that was it. I signed up to clay target shooting, and that was sort of the end of every other sport I played. My life pretty much revolved around it from 12 to about 17. I spent every weekend with my dad going around and basically chasing the clay targets in. My dad is a mad fisherman, so camping along the river was where my love for fishing probably began. We always had a boat, so we were always out catching redfin. That was probably my favourite childhood memory. Now, I've always sort of fished throughout my teenage years, but it wasn't until my mid-20s, I'd say, I really got back into fishing. Working inside a hunting and fishing store, I kind of was obligated to learn fishing again in the realm of fly fishing. The one expert we had in the shop was leaving, and I was like, right, I'm gonna have to learn this because I have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about. And if I'm gonna sell this, I've got to make sure I know what I'm talking about. So that was a really frustrating 6 months of my life. I thought I was gonna throw it in the bin in the first 2 weeks. I hated it. I despised it. I think I caught more trees than fish. And then about 6 months later, I finally hooked my first trout. That was the moment I was like, okay, now I'm happy, I've caught a fish, I can go on. And yeah, it became really addictive for me. It was sort of like a combination of hunting and fishing became a very similar thing because trout fishing was very similar to hunting, so the same sort of skills applied, just in a little bit different realm. So I really enjoy just being out there in the middle of nowhere, and you'd walk up rivers for hours and not see a single soul, and I think that's when I really fell in love with trout fishing. I think it's hard for women to enter the industry if you haven't grown up around it. I could imagine it's very intimidating. I'm lucky. I was one of those girls who got to grow up with a dad that took them hunting and took them shooting and took them fishing. So for me, it's been second nature all my life. But coming in with no knowledge, I can see would be very intimidating because it's 90%, 95% men, 5% women. The key would be to just not be afraid and actually ask questions would be my biggest bit of advice. The hunting community is actually a very, very friendly and helpful bunch of people. And I think there's heaps of opportunity for women to go and learn and upskill, and they'd be surprised how much they really do love it. There's something really satisfying about being able to share knowledge and helping people enjoy what I enjoy, giving out information to go on their first hunt or setting them up and giving them recommendations on what firearm they would buy or scope to use. Being able to share that knowledge and allowing people to go out and enjoy the outdoors is what makes it really satisfying for me. I'm not anybody special, but it's humbling, and I'm really grateful for the support that I get from people and the brands that have backed me, and the beautiful places I've been able to see have all been because I've been able to shed a positive light on the outdoor space. And if I can spend the rest of my days helping people out and giving them the same satisfaction that I get every time I walk out that door, my life is fulfilled. I'm happy. Currawong Lakes feels like home to me, I'm not gonna lie. There's deer roaming around, there's fish in the lakes, there's a shooting range. The wildlife here is insane. It's so rich in history. There is literally something for everyone to enjoy here. If I could stay here for the rest of my days and sip whiskey by the fire at night and coffees on the deck in the morning, I'd be happy. I think I'm so attracted to the outdoors because it's a place of peace for me. I live a really hectic life and I'm not very good at staying still, but being out adventuring slows me down mentally. And I think that's why I enjoy being out in that space. This is me for life.